Hello and welcome to my channel In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne and today I have a special guest.
Hi.
This is my sister Jennifer and we are going to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 tag.
Very exciting.
It is very exciting.
My YouTube premiere.
That's right. Okay, so Dale at Old American Spirit tagged me in this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 tag. So what we're going to do is each of us are going to answer the questions and compare our answers and see where we agree and where we differ. Do you want to go first for the questions or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. All right. So the first question is 5 recent 5-star reads. So I'm pretty stingy with 5 stars actually. So I had a recent one, but then I had to go all the way back to like September, October, maybe November, the last one. But anyways, the most recent one was the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, volumes 1 and 2. Have you read those yet?
I read the first volume.
Yeah, did you like it?
I did, but I think I only gave it 4 stars.
Nice.
But I did like it, and it's good.
Yeah, I thought that they were like really, it was like really fresh. Like it was not your typical sort of book. Like,
yeah, it has her own voice.
Yeah, it was very interesting. So I gave it 5 stars just for that alone. Like, it kept me reading. It just kept me reading. I wanted to read more. And I almost started, I found I could get the rest of the volumes on Kindle Unlimited, and I almost started them, but then I had too many other things I wanted to read, so I haven't read them again, but.
Yeah, and I've heard Lori and others, our sister Lori and others say that they're funny, like, as you go on. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I enjoy, so I'm hoping to borrow from Lori.
Oh, to borrow?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And I feel like I could quite easily binge read all of them. Yeah. I think the 8th one is supposed to come out later this year at some point.
Yeah, I didn't realize till I started doing my review on the first one that there are currently 7 volumes. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, I knew there were a couple more, but I'm like, 7. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first 2 are short, but I think some of the others are a little bit longer, like more like regular book length, but I don't know.
Gotcha.
Haven't read them yet. And then the next one was Mansfield Park by Jane Austen, which I did a whole huge video about that, so you can watch that to hear all my thoughts about that. But it kind of surprised me. It was not my favorite Austen before, but I actually really like it, and I gave it 5 stars.
I do like that one.
And then Eugene, Onegin by Alexander Pushkin, I read earlier this year, and that was really good. And I actually was kind of surprised how much I like it because, have you ever read it? Have you read Eugene, Onegin?
No. I think when I was taking Russian lessons with Zhenya, that she actually had me try to memorize a short portion of it in Russian. Right. But I have not read it. When I saw in your booktube that you were reading it, I was like, oh, I should read that. And I want to get where it's Russian and English so I can.
Oh, you can have
compare.
my Russian English copy if you want.
Okay.
Because I also have a Russian one. And I have an English translation that I really liked. The thing is, I didn't really love the translation in the Russian English one because it wasn't like poetic. It didn't have the meter and the rhyming scheme necessarily all the way through. So I didn't love it, but it was very handy. Like you read the Russian and then you could see the English, the literal translation. Right. So it was very handy to have side by side. So you can have my copy.
I would love that. Yeah,
it was really good. I gave it 5 stars. And then Gentle and Lowly, The Heart of Christ for Sinners by Dane Ortlund was very good. I was kind of surprised. A lot of people had said that they loved it, but I was kind of surprised by how much I loved it. And I had a lot of underlining, a lot of tabs on it. It was very good. Highly recommend. And then The All-American by Susie Finkbeiner, which I really love her writing. I don't like some of her stories, like they're a little slower and not as much, they're more character driven, I guess, and not as plot driven. And so they're not as, they don't stick with you as much, but I really liked the story in The All-American. And initially I was kind of afraid where she was going to take it because I thought it would be like really political and I don't like that in books, but she wasn't really dwelling on that too much. It was just really interesting.
What genre is that?
I guess historical fiction, but also kind of like women's fiction maybe a little bit, because it wasn't really a romance. There was a romance kind of thread sort of in it, but it wasn't really a big part of it. It was about a girl who grew up in Michigan, but her dad, it was during the 50s with the whole communism, Cold War thing. And her dad was accused of communism. Was he a screenwriter or something? I don't know. He was accused of communism, and like they lived in this small town and everybody knew them and everybody was like shunning them and ostracizing them. So then they moved to like this cabin property and until like that storm died down. And that was part of the story. But then the other part was the girl, one of the daughters in the book, she wanted to play baseball and there was a women's league at the time in baseball. And so she gets onto the women's league. And Susie Finkbeiner, in the author's note, she said that she was trying to like, what if you combine something like baseball, which is very American, with something like communism, which is very un-American, and like contrasting them and like telling that story about it. And also it was kind of a little bit like one of the ugly things of American history, how, you know, how they handled during the Cold War.
Yeah.
People who, you know, they, like the guy in the story, he wasn't really a communist. There was like some minor guilt by association sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like his whole career died and all of this stuff. So anyway.
Yeah, I've never read any books by her.
They're really good. That one was good. And the other one I really liked was set during the Vietnam War, which was really good. All Manner of Things, I think it's called. That one was, those are my two favorites by her. So those were my 5-star reads. What were yours?
So I don't necessarily just hand out 5 stars. I'm probably more liberal with them than you are, but I probably stay more in the 4-star and try to reserve 5-star for something that does kind of blow me away, or where I'm like, I can't give this anything less than 5 stars. Right. You know, like there's nothing about it, and I really enjoy the content and whatever. So yeah. And these are not necessarily my most in a row 5, but I picked out 5 of my most recent. Okay. Into the Wild by John Krakauer. Which I think that is a couple years old. So
is that the one that's set in Alaska?
Yes. Yeah. Which was interesting, having been to Alaska last year.
Right.
I tend to be a couple of years behind everybody. I don't necessarily read what everybody's reading right when it comes out, but that was on my
genetic, apparently.
It was on my bookshelf, which it was I think it was one of the ones I read for our book challenge that we're doing this year. Yeah. Which has been good to get things read off of my bookshelf. But I really enjoyed it. His research was amazing, and I felt like he treated the subject respectfully, and it was just interesting to me. And like you will never find me just taking off on a road trip with my backpack, and that's just not me. So seeing somebody, complete opposite from me, and just getting insight into them, I found it interesting.
That's cool.
This one I listened to audiobook called The Light in Hidden Places by Sharon Cameron. I actually, after the fact, realized, I realized I had bought it, and it was one of the very rare books that I was in Target, and I was in the book section, and I saw it, and it looked very interesting to me, and I just picked it off the shelves. Nice. Pretty sure that was one of the ones. But then I forgot I had it, and so then, I don't know, somehow it came up, I had saved it as to listen to an audiobook on Hoopla or Libby, and so I listened to it. But anyway, it's about Polish teenage girl who basically saved the lives of 11 or 13 Jews.
Oh, wow.
During the World War II, where she was from a family farm, and came to town and wound up working for this couple that were Jews. And so then when World War II started, they kind of were getting scattered and stuff. And so the apartment they were in kind of fell to her. And then one of the sons came back, and she hid him, and it just kind of snowballed from there. But I mean, literally, she was probably 15, 16 years old. She wound up wound up in care of her youngest sister, who was like 6 or 7 at the time. This is a fictionalized account, but it is, I mean, they were real life people.
Wow.
And just what they went through to save the lives of these 13 Jews, because she was working, that's how they had money. So she'd be gone all day, but just like, I mean, obviously, as you can understand, trying to keep 13 people hidden from view.
Yeah.
And, it's not like they were out in the country, they were in the city. And so it was just amazing. And I think in my review on Goodreads, I said, like, for some reason, I'm drawn to World War II and Holocaust books like that, and just their will to survive in the midst of such horrible evil against them. And then the people like her, who she could have just, I mean, she wasn't Jewish. She could have turned a blind eye. But her humanity would not allow her to do that. So
that's cool. Thankful. Is that a Christian fiction author?
No, it's not.
I never heard of that author, I don't think.
I think it's young adult, actually. When I picked up my physical copy, I'm like, oh, I think this is young adult. Which makes sense. She's a teenager.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, and the other thing that made it very interesting reading or listening to it, the person that read it was a Polish person. So with her accent and everything, I really enjoyed listening to it. So it's a really good book. And then Tidewater Bride by Laura Frantz.
Oh, I don't think I've read that one by her. I read a lot of hers, but that's one I think that I still need to read.
I really enjoy her books, but I think that's one of her better books. Just the way...
Yeah, because she's a little hit or miss for me. Like, some of them I really love, and some of them I'm like, that was good, but...
Yeah.
Not amazing.
Yeah, no, it's a romance, and I just felt like the romance itself was done very well between, the hero and the heroine, and it's set in, I believe, like right before the American Revolution, or sometime back in colonial America, which interests me.
So Tidewater, that's like Virginia, right? She's in that like Williamsburg area, or
somewhere along the Chesapeake. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. And then The Words We Lost by Nicole Deese.
I'm in the middle of reading that one.
Which Tammy told me when she picked me up from the airport the other day. She said that she was reading it and couldn't put it down, and lost some hours of sleep.
Nice.
And actually, when I went back and looked at my review, I said something like that, like it's to the detriment of your sleep at night.
Nice.
But this, I mean, Tammy and I both agreed. Every book that we've read of hers, we just enjoy, and she's just an amazing author.
I've only read one, and I'm in the middle of that one. I really like. All That Really Matters, I think, was the one that I read. Mm-hmm. It was about the influencer, the Instagram influencer who goes to work in the
like a home group.
Yeah, the whole group home for the young people. That was really good. I really liked that. I liked everything about it. This one, actually, I don't know. I think because May is like the busiest time of year for me, and I can only read like in snatches of time. I haven't been able to like fully get sucked into it. I'm probably about like 40% in, and I really like this story, but it's not like pulled me in where like, okay, forget that I have to get up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'm gonna read this anyway. I haven't gotten to that point with it yet, but I'm enjoying it. It's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really just her way of writing, and it just, I love her books. So that was 5-star. And then the last one, another World War II Holocaust one, and The Happiest Man on Earth by Eddie Jaku. And I did listen to this one as well, and I'm sorry, I don't remember if he read it or not. I don't think he did, but I think he passed away recently.
Oh. Is it like a true story, or?
It is. It's like his autobiography, I believe, where he was a Jew and wound up in concentration camps and just experienced all the horror. I don't remember all the specifics right now, but I looked back at my review and just walked away with it like, if this man can experience what he experienced and determine, I mean, the title of the book, The Happiest Man on Earth, just determined that despite it all, he still considers himself happy and blessed, and then none of us have an excuse.
Yeah.
All of our issues, sure, they're real issues, but we can, the one thing that kind of makes me sad. As a Christian, one thing that makes me sad about books like this is there's no indication in there that he ever received Christ. So, I mean, that's where true happiness and eternal security comes from. So, from that aspect, but it's just an inspiring book. Like, no matter what happens to you, you can still. It's all in the mindset. Really, it is the how you approach life. So, those are my 5 recent ones.
There's a couple I hadn't heard of, so that's cool. All right, next is 4 auto-buy authors. And for me, that was kind of hard, actually, because I don't buy a lot of new books. I have more recently in the past year or so because I've had more wiggle room in my budget to do that. But up until then, like, I would buy at thrift stores. I would borrow from my sisters. I mean, Tammy has a whole entire library.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So I would borrow from my sisters or borrow from the library or get free, Kindle books, when they go on sale or like really cheap, like $1.99 or something. So it wasn't like if there was an author that I'd be like, oh, I'm going to buy all of those. So I feel like for me, it's more like an auto read author. Yes. Like if this is an author that I will read all of their books and if I can get my hands on them. And Amanda Dykes is one of them. So I actually did pre-order her book, which is coming out very soon in June, I think. Something about Gilded Mountains is the new one. And she's written 3 or 4 full-length novels plus a couple of novellas. And I just really like all of them. I really just like her writing style. It's very, like almost poetic. Like her prose is very poetic. Have you read any by her?
I want to say, did she write one about set like water, boat, something?
A couple of them have been. Yeah.
I want to say
her very first one, Whose Waves These Are, I think is what it was called. Might be what you're thinking of. It said it like in Maine, I think, somewhere in New England, on the coast. Yeah.
And I do really think I remember really liking her. Yeah. I haven't read any since, but.
Yeah, actually a lot of them have water as a theme. Like I just read her most recent one was set in Venice. So, and what was interesting is she was comparing like Venice, Italy to Venice Beach in California, which is like modeled off of Venice in Italy, which I did not know.
No.
And so it was a dual timeline, and one timeline was set like when Venice Beach was being like created and built, and the other was more an older timeline, like in 19th century Venice, or maybe even earlier than that, Italy.
Interesting.
So anyway, it was very interesting. Yeah, that was kind of a unique one of her books, but I've liked all of them. Not everybody likes them because they can't get past her prose, which is, it tends to be more like literary, but not like a modern literary, more like a classic literary, kind of like, and very, very poetic. I love reading her Instagram posts because they're the same, like, it's just really beautiful. She just, like, the picture will be of something, I don't even know. I can't even think right now, but just like she'll put a picture on there of something either in her life or something that she saw in nature or whatever that was really beautiful. And then she'll just have her comments on it. Her post is just really beautiful. It's like reading poetry. I just like it.
I'll have to look up her Instagram.
Yeah. And I like Sarah Brunsvold. She's only written 2, but my husband's coming home. Hello. We're recording.
Sorry.
So go away. All right. So Sarah Brunsvold is another one, and she's only written 2. But the first one I really liked, The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp. Have you read that one?
I did read that one.
That was very good.
I did it. Well, I listened to it, but I read it.
Yeah. And then the second one that she published this year was The Divine Proverb of Streusel, I think.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, and it was very good. I think it wasn't good in the same way as The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp. It was a little bit different. I mean, obviously the same author and a similar style, whatever, but the story wasn't maybe as compelling, but I really liked the themes that she was writing about and her style of writing. It was just really good. And then Mimi Matthews is another one that I like. She writes all like Victorian. I think she has a few Regency like romance novels, but I just really like how she does the settings and the characters. Anyways, I haven't quite read all of them, but I'm close to having read them. I really like the current series that she's writing right now. And then Susie Finkbeiner, who wrote The All-American, is another one. I think I have read all of hers. Pretty sure I've read all of hers up to now. So I just really like, she has more of, her and Sarah Brunsvold, they kind of write in a similar way. Like it's not just a fun story or whatever. Like they tend to dig deep into different themes or ideas or concepts, and they're both Christian authors. So they, have that Christian biblical aspect to the exploration of it. So like, Sarah Brunsvold, her most recent one was about, like conflict between generations and the resolution of that and forgiveness and that kind of stuff, which was really good. And then Susie Finkbeiner, she was examining, like American ideals and like the life of this family, and what they went through, and the girl and her aspirations to be on the baseball team. And woven into all of that was kind of like the idea of teamwork and being able to work together as a team or whatever, that kind of thing. Anyway, so I just really like the way that they approach topics. So those are some. There are others, but those are the main ones I thought of.
Well, and I'm similar in that I don't necessarily buy too many books these days. Especially since I've discovered Hoopla and Libby.
Yeah.
I mean, literally 95% of the time, if I'm looking for, I hear, I want to look at that book, I can find them on their audiobook or regular. So, and I'm not a person that, Tammy likes to have physical copies.
Right.
And that's great. I'm not ever, because most of the time I'm not going to go back and read them.
Right.
It's pretty rare. And I have so many books anyway that I don't even have room on my shelves for all of them.
That is also. So
I don't necessarily need to have I do like to read physical copies, but I can also read on e-reader or whatever. So I don't have a problem with that. So most of mine here would be auto read. Right. If I see that author, I'm like, I don't necessarily like go right then and read it, but I do want to read that book. So
yeah.
So the four, Nicole Deese.
Yeah.
One of them that we just talked about. Catherine Ray.
Yeah, I do like her.
I really like her, and it tends to be more I guess she's a good mix of historical and.
Yeah. I haven't read her recent ones, I don't think.
Well, the most recent one that I read was kind of a little bit of a dual timeline. If they didn't go back in history, the person was exploring. Okay. Her family background or something like that.
Right.
So then there's another one, like the Moscow one. I haven't read that.
I did read
yet.
the London one. I haven't read the Moscow one. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just really enjoy her writing, and like maybe one of my favorites of hers was her one that was a take on Knightley from Emma, like Dear Mr. Well, it's kind of a combination. The Daddy Longlegs.
Right. Yeah.
I really liked that book of hers.
Yeah,
so
that was a good one.
She's one of my favorites. And then I'm pretty sure her name is Melissa Ferguson.
Oh yeah, I think I've read a couple by her. She likes like rom-com.
Yeah, like chick lit type of.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really funny, and I do enjoy her books. And then Julie Klassen.
Yes. Yeah. I think
historical Christian fiction. So.
All of hers except her most recent. I have not read that one yet.
Yeah, all of hers have been set in England, like 100, 200 years ago, whatever, Regency-ish.
Right.
And I especially enjoyed, I think, the one series where she kind of followed Ivy Hill, I think. Where she followed characters all in one area, one village, one whatever. But I do enjoy hers a lot. Try to read all of hers. So.
Yeah. All right. Next we have 3 favorite genres. So I had historical fiction on there, and yeah, pretty much any book that's historical fiction I will read. Well, it kind of depends on context, subject, author, etc. But historical fiction, I am very much drawn to. That would be number one. Christian or certain secular authors that I found, but yeah. Historical fiction, and then classics, which I don't know that's necessarily a genre, but I do enjoy reading classics. So those two are the most likely to pick up, and also nonfiction. I've discovered recently that I really enjoy memoirs, especially if it's not particularly about like a whole lifespan, although I like that too. But if it's about like a memoir, someone's experience of a particular event in time or situation or whatever, I like memoirs. And I also like nonfiction books that delve into like maybe investigative journalism kind of thing, sort of like they delve into a particular thing that happened and try to investigate it, or even like into a person's life. Like I like biographies best when there's like some mystery surrounding like they're unsolved things about the person. And so the book is kind of like trying to figure out what really happened. Like I read one some years ago about not the king in France who was executed, but his son. And like there was a kind of he was Louis the 16th or 17th or something. And there was for a long time, there was this sort of myth or urban legend or whatever that he had actually been secreted away somehow and hidden away.
I mean, isn't that Scarlet Pimpernel?
Yeah, that's a part of it. Yeah. But in this book, they were kind of investigating the information available and all the DNA samples that have been taken from different bodies or whatever, and looking into the history and investigating what had really happened with him. And it was really interesting. Their conclusion was that he had actually died. Anyways, I like books like that, a kind of like real life mysteries that people are trying to uncover and untangle. So those are my 3 genres.
Well, we're sisters, there's no doubt. So 2 out of the 3 are pretty much the same. And my third one you probably would agree to, but historical fiction, and I tend, especially up until recent years, it's been primarily Christian.
Right.
But in recent years, I have read, there's a couple authors, like Marie Benedict.
Oh, I want to read some by her.
And
I've not read hers yet.
Are very well done and fictionalized accounts of real people, which is interesting. And another one who does that is Shiverini.
Oh, yes. I have read 1 or 2 by her. Yeah.
And I just finished one about a girl that was kind of considered, I guess, Mary Todd Lincoln's rival. I'm drawing a blank on her name at the moment, but her dad was kind of in the running for president at the same time Lincoln was, and Republicans nominated Lincoln instead of him, but he was a senator, so they were in Washington D.C. at the same time. So she just really brings those characters alive. I read one of hers about Ulysses S. Grant's wife and things like that. So I enjoy American history a lot. So I enjoy her books quite a lot. And then a lot of Christian historical fiction. My other one would be, one of my others is Regency romance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I almost put that on there because that's definitely, but I kind of was like, I guess that kind of fits with historical fiction. But but it is a whole genre.
Yeah. I mean, of course.
It can stand on its own.
Georgette Harris, you know, the mother of all that, and does it Beth. But I have found some others, like Elizabeth Mansfield is one that I don't know, because of Tammy or what, but early on, and you know, the Hare and Mansfield are both clean. I look for clean ones.
Right.
I'm not looking for
which
that.
Can be hard to find sometimes.
Yeah. But one of the things I love the most about Hare, and Mansfield does a fairly good job of it, is her wit. Like, it's just funny.
Yes.
I just love her wit.
Funny. I just read one of hers, Regency book. Have you read that one?
I don't.
I can't always remember the title of the story that goes with it. But I know I had not read this one yet, and I read it in May, and it was about, oh my goodness, what was it about? Oh, it was about a brother and a sister who they are mistakenly made wards of, when their father dies, of this guy who is only like 10 years their senior.
Oh.
And when he meets her, he's very interested in her, but he's her guardian, so that's like not good.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really actually interact too much with her over the course of the book because he doesn't want to take advantage of their relationship, which is good. I like how she did that.
Yeah.
But he waits until like the day that their guardianship ends and she turned 21 or whatever. And then, but by then they had spent enough time together and interacted enough together that they were both very interested in each other. So that was like towards the end of the book, but
it does. Good. I feel like I might have read that. I mean, I've been reading her books for years, and she is one that I actually will reread.
Yes, me too.
I have a good collection of her books, and every now and again I like to go back and read. And I know there's some that I haven't read, but there's just so many books out there to read. So
yeah, I know. I think I've read Arabella a couple of times and Frederica. Those are my favorites.
Frederica,
they're so funny.
Bath Tangle, I want to say.
I think I have read that, but favorites. I need to reread that because
I actually need to go back and read Georgia Hare.
Yeah.
And then the other one I said was biography memoir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't read a lot of them, but I do enjoy them, and I should read more of them. And I had Chick Lit as an honorable mention because I like books that make me laugh. What was her name? Billerbeck. It was kind of like the first one who did it in Christian fiction.
Yeah, with her, was it Ashley
Stockingdale or whatever? Those first 3 books. I really need to go back and reread them, but I just remember like laughing out loud with those books. So I do enjoy Chick Lit. So those are mine.
Yeah, well, good. Have you read anything by Emma St. Clair? She's a new one that I found in that genre. Well, new to me. Like she's been around for a while. And it's not Christian, but it's clean. And she's so funny. Like laugh out loud.
Is she the one that is like Southern-ish? Or no?
The couple that I read were set in Texas. I think I've never seen the show, but I think that it's supposed to be like a riff off of Schitt's Creek, that TV show.
Yeah.
But it's called the town is called Sheet Cake. And she like plays off of that.
So it's name. And it's like chick lit?
Yes, yeah. And it's just funny like rom-com kind of things. But like they didn't move on. All right. So we're winding down. 2 favorite places to read. And my first one is on my deck, provided that there are no mosquitoes or bees, which is a big if. The spiders I can handle. I can just sweep away, the cobwebs and the spiders. But bees start flying around me or mosquitoes start biting me, then it doesn't happen. But otherwise, I like to read on my deck. Otherwise, in my bed is really my most comfy place. I could read downstairs. That would be really comfy, and it's a cozy little room, but it's kind of the boys' domain. And it's very, very teenage boyish down there many times. So
probably not.
No, probably not. Yeah. So what about you?
So I live in Florida, so I do enjoy, I don't do it as often as I should, considering my proximity, but I do enjoy reading at the beach. Part of the problem, though, is I go with people sometimes, most of the time, and so then I don't want to be rude, and so unless it's like some girls and they're reading and we're just, but I do like to read at the beach, that's fun, and like kind of same, whatever, actually in the hot tub. So I house sat recently, and it's a little tricky in the hot tub, and the book did actually get a little bit wet, but it dried, and like I said, I don't necessarily hold on to books anyways once I've read them, so I wasn't too concerned about that. And when I was in there in the hot tub the other day, I was like, I wonder if they make something where you like hook it onto the hot tub.
I know, right?
Surely they do, but
surely
I'm like,
somebody has invented such a thing.
Like, it's not my hot tubs, and I'm only, I'm not there that often, so is it worth investing? But that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Maybe my friend would want to be reading in them.
There you go. I'll give it to her as a gift.
That's right. There you go. She just had a birthday. Gave her her gift already.
Bummer.
Baby Christmas.
Opportunity.
I give her. And then the bed. That's where I read the most. And I tend to read right before I go to sleep. And whether or not, how much reading time I get, it depends on what time I go back to bed.
And how sleepy you are.
Yes.
Because I often nod off when I'm trying to read.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. So.
All right. Last one is a book you promised to read really soon. And my two are they over here? Yes. So I did the try a chapter tag, which I tried 3 different books. And I ended up choosing to read The Midnight Library, which I'm still working on. But I read a little bit of each of these, and I really want to read them. Before the Coffee Gets... You had read this, right, I think?
No, I think I saw that you recommend, or you mentioned it. I think I looked it up, but I don't... Okay. I don't think I've read it.
I don't...
It looked interesting.
It is interesting. It's got like some time travel in it. So... and it's in Japan, I think. It was written by a Japanese author, I'm pretty sure. So this is a translation. But when I started it, it was like, first of all, I think it's because of the translation. Like, it's the prose is kind of like choppy and elementary in a way, very simplistic style of storytelling in a way. So I don't know how much I'm going to love it, but it also seems like an interesting story, interesting idea. So I kind of want to finish it. And it's been on my TBR for since it came out. So, and then this one, I've never read anything by her, but I think she has a lot of books that I think that I would like. And this one was very interesting when I was reading it, but it's in a very totally different vein from that one. It's like kind of retrospective. It's this man who he's not that old. He has a 7-year-old son. I think he's like maybe in his 40s or 50s, early 50s, but he is dying, and he is a preacher. He comes from like a long line of preachers. And basically he's writing an ongoing letter to his son for when his son gets older, like growing into manhood or whatever. So it's really good. And there's so much, it's very introspective and retrospective. So, and it's not like a story with a storyline, kind of thing. At least as far as I can tell so far. But it's very good. And it's like the kind of book that you kind of like sit and savor a little bit, and it makes you think, and has a lot of like reminiscing about his life. And anyway, so it's very interesting, and I want to read it, but I'm in the middle of 2 other books right now, so I'll get to that eventually. Or what about you?
Well, I'm reading right now. Before We Were Yours.
Oh yeah, Lisa Wingate. Yeah,
that's the one that I chose off my shelf for our book challenge, a book an author new to you. So I'm reading to that one. But other than that, I was like, well, maybe I'll have Anne pick me a book that I promised to read.
Oh dear.
Which several of the ones that you're 5-star, like the Eugene Onegin.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you should read that one. That's the one I'm going to tell you to read.
Okay.
Read that one.
Okay.
You promise to read it really soon.
I do.
Really soon, okay.
Of course, I've got VBS coming up. But
after VBS.
Define soon. Yeah.
After VBS is good.
Okay, after VBS.
All right. So that brings us to the end. I'm supposed to tag somebody, which I did not think about before I started doing the video. So, okay. So I'm going to finish up by tagging Cheryl at Candlewick Library and Wodenburn Reads to do this tag if you want to, no pressure. It'll be interesting to see your answers. And you can also answer below what your answers would be for any of these 5 prompts. And I look forward to reading them and commenting. And thank you for joining us today. And thank you for, And everybody say hello to Jennifer in the comments. And maybe next time she comes back up, we can do another episode, another tag. When is the next time you're going to be in the area?
In Virginia, I don't know, but we'll be together. You're going to North Dakota, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, and we're going to go to not Louisa May Alcott, not Lucy Montgomery, another 3-letter
Laura
name.
Ingalls Wilder.
Laura Ingalls Wilder. A 3-name name. It starts with L. Anyway, Laura Ingalls Wilder, we're going to their home in South Dakota, right? That's one of the things.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah, we'll definitely have to do some vlogging on there. So, all right, until then, I will see you all another time. Have a great
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it will already be Memorial Day week. I think I'm going to post it on Tuesday. So whatever
Great
you're doing,
summer. Great June.
summer,
First
great
week of June.
End of school year, summer. Yes, enjoy it. Enjoy it all. I will see you next time. Bye.